Hey, good evening, and welcome to a late Monday evening MOJO with Jeff Tyson. Man, I got to tell you, for those of you new to the show, and for those of you that been following, I apologize. I've missed the last couple of weeks, but I do my best to make sure that that doesn't happen again, because it's important for me to show up here. It's important for me to check in and just be that friendly reminder that, hey, however your day may have been or however your weekend is, if it's carrying over into Monday, the jump start of the week for most of us, that, hey, it doesn't have to go all the way through the week. That funk doesn't have to go the whole week. It can stop, right? And I just, tonight I had the opportunity to, my wife had some leadership training that she's doing, and she's always doing some tremendous things, man. My wife is an amazing person. I'm grateful that she's in my life. But anyway, she was doing some training, and I got caught up in what they were talking about. And it wasn't what I wanted to talk about today. I want to get to that. But it made me think about, man, workplace and leadership. I mean, are you really in tune with what's going on in your workplace? How your employees feel, how you're treating your associates. Are your associates fired up, or are they super worried now? First it was COVID. And, AI is on the scene now, so it's another disruptor. Let's face it, it's going to impact lives of some folks, right? It can improve things for some folks, and, it may force some things to go away, because that's just how things go. But, man, I think I'm going to do a little subject around what they were talking about in terms of leadership and how important it is for them to admit when they're wrong, and important for them to, one of the subjects was being able to be willing to address the elephant in the room, right? And if that doesn't happen, and you're in a meeting, you ever been in a meeting? I know I've been in meetings before where, there's just something that's off, and, we go through the meeting and we find that, you find yourself thinking, man, why am I here? Wasting my time, all this other stuff, right? And because there's not, something's off, right? And it's all about that elephant in the room, and if leadership's willing to take advantage of looking at that. Just, man, I made some notes on it for later on, because it's really powerful. So I do want you to think about how your work environment is. Are you happy where you are? Are you settling for that role that you have now? And leaders, are you really pouring into the people? Are you really creating that place where everybody's happy to be there? Right? Or they really shouldn't be there, and are you willing to do the things necessary to free them so they can go find something else for themselves, right? That's a difficult role to play, but it's a necessary role. We have that responsibility as leaders to make sure that that person is comfortable in that space that they're in. If they're not, we give them another option, right? Anyway, for those of you don't know me, my name is Jeff Tyson, and I'm known as the Comeback King. And I got that name from folks that have seen me go through all types of struggles in life, just like many of you have, right? From relationships to health to corporate careers and business failures and successes, and just flat out life on life's terms, right? Battling life. I call it the comebacks in the life we live, right? And finding the gifts along the way, man. Staying in it, right? Somebody said something about it's that get up muscle that we have, right? That it's not how we fall down, it's how we get up and how we continue to get up. And are we bringing the energy necessary? Are we bringing the belief back even if we've lost it? Are we bringing that grit that really takes, or is required sometimes to get where we want to get to, man? Anyway, I'm just kind of today, after watching that and thinking about them other things, I'm always a little bit. But listen, let me just tell you this. I've been fortunate to have some mentors in my life and coaches here recently in the last 3 or 4 years that have really had an impact on me in ways that would not necessarily have happened had it not been for some COVID shifts. And anyway, and he talked today about, and also it kind of fits into where my life is sometimes, right? And I've been struggling with there's a whole lot of talk about setting your day up and morning routines, and everybody's got one, and everybody's talking about one. And it kind of made me think of mine. And mine's up and down, and it's inconsistent, and kind of like some other things in my life, right? Inconsistent, but I keep showing up. I'll work through it, right? I've got my struggles and some coming back from health that's getting better, and just not really clear on some things on how I want to proceed in certain types of business. And, I find myself procrastinating sometimes, man. And I'm not playing full out like I should be. And I'm hiding behind, just being comfortable, hiding behind, just being human, man. But I want to tell you that one thing has helped me, and it's how I start my morning and how do you start your morning, right? And there's a whole lot of different things, and everybody probably has one morning routine I'm talking about, something to get your day started, something to get you set up. So I just wanted to just check in, and he dropped, he always does some really powerful, short little things to do. But one of them, I say this all the time, and I think I put it in the description. And how your morning starts is how your day ends, unless. Well, Jeff, what do you mean by the unless? Well, what do just we talk about it all the time in conversations with Jeff. It's that thinking, and being aware of it, and being aware of your energy, and then which direction you take from that, right? And so it's about. Don't get mad at me when I say this, but I ask you this question, and be honest with you, when you hear this recording, whatever it is, what do you do when you get up? What's the first thing you grab, and why? And I'll give you a mulligan if you grab your phone because it's your clock and you're turning off the alarm. But how many of us grab our phone and go right to what's going on in the news, go right to what our friends are talking about, go right to what we were chatting about before we went to sleep? First thing in the day, man, right? So if it's work related, or if it's a relationship, and if it hits the wrong nerve, then what do you think the direction of your day is going, right? You go from high to low really quickly, right? And so now you're on the defense, right? you start to be reactive to things rather than proactive. I made a couple of notes. I'm gonna look down on them so I don't stay here forever. You're on the defense rather than the offense, right? You guys know what I'm talking about, man. All of a sudden now you're thinking about all this stuff, and your feet haven't even hit the ground, maybe. Right? You haven't brushed your teeth or any of these things, man. So don't do that. Don't turn on the news. Don't grab the newspaper. Not yet. What kind of environment do you want to have? Right? Is it the same environment when you go to sleep at night and talk about it a lot? Right? Do you set your peace and some calm? Think about the victories of the day, right? The people that you've impacted, or you're worrying about all the noise that you can't even change right now because it's gone. The day's over. So you wake up that way, right? But this helps you reset your day, man. Listen, some simple things. I already talked about the phone and news and all that. So you know better, right? So, and then this gratitude, man, this is a word that gets thrown around a lot. But I know it was, part of my journey is hitting that bottom, leaving corporate America and finding my way and getting, stop playing around with the drugs, whiskey, and women, and finding a new way to live. And part of that thing was, they talked a lot about, if you don't feel like you have anything to be thankful for, then write a gratitude list, right? So verbalize it in your mind. What are you grateful for, man? I guarantee you can pick so many things. Pick health. What are you grateful for in your health? You're still alive. You got up that morning. What are you grateful for in your job, your business? Hey, what are you grateful for in your relationships, right? You can find something to be grateful for. Man, I talk about it all the time. If you do that practice, I guarantee you every time you feel like you're falling off the edge during the day, you take a moment and think about gratitude and what you're grateful for. It'll bring that energy back. And it's magic. So number one, be grateful. Be thinking about that. Number two, think about one thing that you did successfully the day before. I like this one. What was it that you did the day before? Everybody's done something good that day. It may not be obvious because everything else was a crap day, but everyone has done something that they can be proud of, something that they can pat themselves on the back. What is yours? Think about that. Number two, what is it that you did good? One thing the day before. And then number three, he talks about is making sure, and I like this too, that there's one thing that you're going to get done today. What is that one thing? And not usually, but it should be the most difficult thing, the most important thing. We always talk about needle movers, that thing that moves you forward, right? moving papers from one side of your desk to the other side of your desk, right? Not going, if you're working from home, not going in and doing the dishes 3 times, not going in and, sneaking and watching a little TV. And that's not what I'm talking about, right? Something that makes sense for you, something that can move you forward, raise your level, right? You know what I'm talking about. So we're talking about 1, what you did have success at. Number 2, what you're going to do successfully that day. I mean, that's it. That takes you a couple of minutes, right? What you're grateful for. And then whatever you like to do from that, right? Because that only take you a couple of minutes, but if you can focus on doing that, that gets you thinking about you and the best you for that day, right? And then you can, he does a green drink, I have some water and depending on what it is, I'll read and I have some therapy things that I do in the morning, and then my wife and I will exercise, right? And then I'm back and on my day, and that doesn't work if I don't get up right, though, right? Yeah. So any of you sleeping in, hitting that snooze button, missing the time, missing the clock, is that you? You know what happens then, right? Your day gets thrown off, and now you're on the defense again. So I just want to encourage you, man, give yourself a break. If you're struggling, and you're doing an up and down thing through life and all of that, take a moment every morning when you get in. Make sure you set the day right for yourself. It's one thing to complain about things, but it's another thing to do something different. So I challenge you today, and don't wait, because the time's never going to be right to change. That's a quote by Napoleon Hill, right? It's never going to be just right to do it. So if you're struggling and doing something in the morning, you can help get your day off to a better start, help get you off to a proactive start, an offensive day where you're not chasing the tail around. You've got a plan, you're confident, because life's going to show up, right? You're going to get in the comeback. You're going to get in the battle, man. That's going to happen. That stinking thinking is going to come up to you. But you've already got some armor around yourself, so you can move through that stuff. You can take some confident steps. You can keep moving forward. You can kind of cut yourself some slack, right? And if your day doesn't go the way you want, you can take some time throughout the day. Give yourself, how many people schedule a meeting with themselves every day, right? The most important person that you have is this and yourself. How often are you meeting with yourself every day? If you're not, man, make it a point to do that, right? I mean, Napoleon Hill has an exercise, 2 things. One is spend 10 minutes a day on confidence, 30 minutes a day about self-development. You're worth that, right? Get into that mental self-development gym. Start working on your beliefs. No longer taking that stinking thinking and letting that run the show, man. Say, get back. No more of that. No more of that. Let's reach up, right? Instead of looking down at our problems, let's reach up and reach out, and then reach down and grab the person behind you that needs your help. Because we're all meant to serve. We're all meant to do something fantastic on this planet. Whether what scale it might be, I don't know for sure. But we all have the capability and we have the responsibilities to be the best person that we can be. And love goes a lot further than hate. Unity goes a lot further than divisiveness, right? And my wife and I, as I wrap this thing up, I want to talk to you about being epic, right? Live that epic life that's encouraging, praising, inspiring, and complimenting everybody that you meet, starting with yourself, starting with your spouse, your partner, your children, right? Before you start to criticize, be epic in your conversation. Because once you say something, once it leaves your lips, baby, you can't get it back. I say all the time, parents, when you're frustrated and you're angry and you get home and your kids just kind of hit you the wrong way, and then bang, you just unload on them. And then they take that message, and then that message is spinning in their head all night and all morning unless you reset it. And you can't just reset it. It doesn't just go away. So what are we teaching our children to believe in themselves? What are you teaching yourself about believing in yourself? I want to tell you that it's possible. And all these things that we're going through called life, that you can do this thing called life. You can be the best person that you are meant to be in this thing called life. Give yourself a break. Set the patterns up that work out best for you every morning, man. And tomorrow's show has a Conversations with Jeff at 11 o'clock. We have a young lady, Dr. Vaughn, who's going to talk about trauma, man, and healing. And she got this great challenge going on. And, you want to be there because we all had experiences in our childhood days. Some of us are gotten better with it. Some of us are still dragging that bag along down the road, right? And it's getting heavier and heavier. Oh, man. So check out, it's 11 o'clock tomorrow. And remember this. No matter how bad things are, no matter how tough things feel, you can make it in this world. You're meant for more. Nothing shall stop you from reaching your destiny. You shall not be denied. You guys always like to tell you this. Nothing shall stop you from reaching your destiny. You shall not be denied. Reach out. Grab the hand of someone that needs it. Praise and compliment. Find kindness before anger. Replace judgment with compassion. And most importantly, when you look in the mirror, no matter who you see looking back at yourself, you find grace in that person. And you know that you can do this thing called life. So I challenge you, look at your morning habits, put it in the chat when you hear the comments. And I'll see you next Monday. Have a great week. And remember this. You're meant for more. Nothing shall stop you from reaching your destiny. Not even that stinking thinking that's running the show a lot of the time. And your true blessings are found in the battle, baby, in the comeback. So let's keep pressing forward. All right, guys. Have a great night. See you next week. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.